Hey, everybody, welcome back. Happy Skews Day to you. It is April 12th, 2022. I'm Trey Crowder, and that's Mark Agee. What's up, Mark?
What's up, Trey? How was your birthday, bud?
Oh, it was good. Did absolutely nothing, and it was everything I hoped it could be. That's how I prefer to spend it. So just playing video games with the boys and eating cheesecake, having a good time.
Portos? Into Portos?
Yeah, Porto's every year. It's a Cuban bakery here in Burbank, pretty renowned, and that's
Yeah.
become Katie's tradition is because she ain't much of a baker. Now everybody else in the house has a birthday. Cakes get baked. All right,
Mhm.
that's what I do. But when it's my turn, I'm not going to bake my own cake, and Katie's not going to subject me to that. So she goes to Portos.
Yeah.
But yeah,
For those of y'all who don't know, Trey's very domestic. He calls himself Mama Trey. He's got his own apron. He likes to cook, and he's a star baker on the British Baking Show if he was on there.
yeah.
Um, Before we get to the show, a couple quick things. One, subway shooting in New York. 10 people got shot. Nobody died so far. That's awesome. They haven't caught the dude. So if you're in New York, look out for that guy. Um, a couple things. Update on our evil sports owners thing. Our buddy Dan Snyder, who bank shot and took out your coach in the Washington Commanders investigation.
Hmm.
Congress has been looking into his finances, and apparently he got caught laundering some money through Kenny Chesney concerts. So that's interesting. He was basically taking revenue that was supposed to go through Commanders paperwork and saying they went through the Kenny Chesney concerts and happened at FedEx Forum and some other events there to hide money from his fellow NFL owners and players.
Right.
So that's bad.
So, okay, I want on that real quick because I saw that too. First of all, producer Matt's asking that I say so. Might be having a little bit of connection issues, but we think the audio is still fine. Hopefully, it's not too distracting. It's not anything we could do about it. We're just going to soldier on, and again, you can hear us, and hopefully, it isn't too much of an issue. This is how dumb I am about the internet. We've been having like wind storms out here today in LA. The wind's been crazy, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
watch out. Hit a internet line or something. I don't know how anything works, but anyway, Dan
Yeah.
Snyder. I saw people speculating, and he's had all this stuff with like sexual harassment and just really fucked up shit has come out about his
Mhm.
ownership of the Washington Commanders. But I saw some people speculating that like this could be the thing that actually matters because now
Mhm.
he's like fucking with the money of the other owners specifically, and that seems like the type of line you don't cross with it. Like all that other shit, that's fine,
Mhm.
but this could actually be a problem. Do you think that'll ever amount to
I don't
anything?
know. For those of you guys who don't follow the finances closely, the NFL is essentially a socialist organization where all the owners share money, and the Commanders are the most valuable, formerly known as the Redskins/football team, are the most valuable franchise in the NFL, and he's supposed to share some of that income with, say, like a small market team, the Green Bay Packers. And instead, what he's been doing is saying he made less money, so he had to share less. So this could be the thing that I mean, all of it he should get in trouble for.
Yeah.
He's breaking all kinds of laws and and rules of morality. So fuck that guy. Also, this is a funny thing. Sort of relates to the show. Matt's been complaining to us about how he has to go to Home Depot because his favorite place. Somebody there wears a mask, so he thought he was going to get COVID from all the red contractors. But instead, he went to the
Hmm.
White House last week, as we told you guys, and now
Yep.
everybody at the White House has COVID. So he's worried about Home Depot instead. Probably got it at the White House because our entire leadership class, who are all 80-year-old fucking idiots, went to the gridiron dinner, and like 70 some people have gotten COVID, and that's a low estimate because they're not counting stuff because they're hiding those numbers from us. But like Pelosi got it, a bunch of cabinet secretaries. I think Kamala got it. It's
So yeah, like we mentioned, like we said that producer Matt was going to the White House. Well, so he was there when
mhm.
the COVID super spreader outbreak happened. So I mean, maybe he's a carrier. Maybe he brought it with him all the way across the country.
Yeah,
No,
Matt.
no way to know that he didn't give everybody COVID. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm just
Matt
saying.
was just running around the White House biting everybody. So it
Matt
happened.
says he tested negative last night. That's what you would say, Matt. Now, I'm sure Matt didn't give everyone COVID, but yeah, um,
Yeah.
fun
Uh,
times.
Quick hitter, Jared Kushner got a $2 billion payoff from the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. Probably not related to stuff he did in the White House, like looking at the way when he killed Khashoggi, and
Hmm.
using the U.S. Navy to blockade Yemen's port to facilitate genocide. Probably not for that shit. Probably because Jared's
No.
a famously good investor who bought
Right.
a huge office building at 666 Park Avenue right before the market collapsed and has been underwater ever since then. So he's obviously a genius. You want to give his money
I
to.
heard that the thing I read about that said that the Saudi crown prince's whatever advisors
Mm-hmm.
advised him not to do that because there were concerns with the financials or the viability or the the like business legitimacy of the deal, but that he did it anyway. So yeah, I mean, he
Yeah,
must have just been really swayed by Kushner's business acumen, and not any of
yeah,
that other stuff that you said.
yeah. Kushner's definitely going to put it into like half into crypto and half into it was hot in 2003, like Pets.com or some shit. Uh, he's like, another. This story is amazing to me. So these two guys got arrested this week. They've been pretending to be agents of the Department of Homeland Security for years. For years, running around DC, making best for people in the Secret Service and the FBI, including Secret Service agents that serve on Biden's detail, the First Lady's detail, and Kamala's detail, buying them all stuff, lying about being federal agents, and nobody knows why. And the
Yeah.
judge just let them go because the government's case doesn't explain why they were doing it. It's like all you just proven is they bought one Secret Service agent. They gave him a free apartment worth $40,000 a year, and
I mean, I don't. What do you think they're trying to do? Like, sure, I mean, they have to be trying to do something, right? By pretending to be DHS agents and greasing all these palms and whatnot.
yeah,
But
yeah,
what,
yeah.
I mean, what the hell?
So they got him dead to rights for impersonating a federal agent, but then nobody knows what the so they gave that guy a $3,000 a month a year apartment. That's the quid. No one knows what the quo is. They can't get him for like
Right.
bribery or espionage. One of the guys was telling people that he's a member of Pakistani intelligence. Pakistan said no, he's not. Of course, that's what Pakistan would say. Except a Pakistani intelligence agent would never tell people he's a Pakistani intelligence agent. So that's one thing in their favor. These guys are just a bunch of morons. To be like they got in trouble because it was this was agent for the Postal Service, like a federal investigator for the Postal Service, had some inner dealings where he ran into them, and they identified themselves as agents. They seemed fishy, so he looked them up and like, oh, they're not. And when they're trying to cover the tracks, they mailed a bunch of their guns to a real Secret Service agent,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Why are you mailing me your guns to hide? I'm not fucking doing that." So he turned them in too. So it's just
Right.
like,
I mean, like, yeah, that part too. They like boxed up a bunch of guns and stuff because they thought the heat was on, but they shipped those guns to a Secret Service agent. And yeah, the whole thing's just super weird and confusing and
yeah,
thus, appropriate for the world we live in, I guess. But yeah, no, shit's wild.
it's like pretty much every second episode at least talk about somebody weird pretending to be a cop. Like with our Patreon episode on Friday, we talked about Stu Pearson, new meat property loon, who has a history of pretending to be a cop, even though he got a couple people killed pretending to be a cop. But there's another case. This guy in Oklahoma tried to steal an Audi. By telling people he was a federal marshal and he was confiscating it and tried to drive it off the lot. And
that's that movie logic, right? He just walks up
yeah,
like flashes of plastic bags, like I'm commandeering this vehicle, but
yeah,
it's the real world. So everybody's like, no, no, you can't do that, and now he's
yeah.
in jail, right?
So yeah, so he tried to drive off and they didn't let him. So then he got out of the car and was like, okay, well, I guess even though I'm a real cop, I really need a car. I guess I'm going to leave now. He tried to leave and they detained him, and the cops arrested him. They're like, why are you telling people you're a federal marshal? And he goes, I am a federal marshal. I'm like, okay, well, like, when? He's like, well, Trump deputized me the federal marshal when he declared martial law. I was like, all right. Anyway, I'm just glad that other countries, specifically Pakistan, have this exact same type of fucking idiot.
yeah.
So,
Also, this is another way in which DMX was a trendsetter. He got
yeah.
he got. Remember that one of the things that he got arrested for one time was like impersonating an FBI agent or something like that.
Yeah, I remember that vaguely. I don't remember the context.
Me neither, but it was something like that. But yeah, he just always ahead of the curve. Rest in peace. Okay. we already mentioned back with us after hobnobbing in DC and surviving the COVID, hurricane that went down up there. Producer Matt is here tonight. This is Weekly Skews. As always, I want to remind you of two things real quick. Number one, if you're vaccinated and want to see me live, you can go to wellbredcomedy.com for tickets. We'll be in Portland this weekend, Louisville the week after that, and I've got some new dates coming for you very soon. Secondly, if you like the show and you would like to support us and get some bonus skews in your life for doing so, you can sign up on Patreon. For $5 a month, you get full-length bonus episodes and you help us out. So if you're into that, go to weeklyskews.com/more or patreon.com/Trey Crowder. Either way works. Sign up on there and get some more skews in your life. Okay. On the show tonight, got some breaking news. This country's rich people do not like paying taxes. They are also exceedingly good at it. But fret not, the IRS is addressing the issue by auditing our nation's poorest people at a rate 5 times that of the wealthiest. Seems fair. We'll get into it, bitch about rich people, have some fun a little bit later. But first, the Daily Dumbass. Matt, graphic, please. Tonight's DD, Joe Biden for thinking he could make a simple dad joke without igniting the flames of controversy. That's right. So we're going to watch this clip first, then we're going to explain further after that. So
try to figure out what's wrong with it as you watch it.
Yeah, yeah.
Good job. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you all for coming. By the way, he was responsible for the weather as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good job.
Okay, so that's it. That's the entirety of what Joe Biden said. Like Mark said, I want you all to think about what might have been upsetting about that, or what the secret coded messaging was that was inferred there, or whatever you can come up with. Because he's doing the old, oh, you brought the weather with you, huh? Like, every pap off for generations. But apparently it's not so simple, according to the, what would you call this? The, like, conservative
RNC,
content aggregator thing.
This is the Republican National Committee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, according to them, it's not so simple. Matt, you want to put up the caption? So here's how they captioned it. Biden says his ATF nominee, Steve Dettelbach, was responsible for the weather today. And then there's a paragraph break. And then it says, Dettelbach is Jewish. There you have it. Bombshell. That's right. Now, Mark, listen, these people are so crazy that I can't tell. Like, are they saying that Biden was being anti-Semitic, or are they saying, okay, that's what because they're so insane that I was like, are they saying like this proves that Jews control the weather like we've been telling y'all for years?
No,
he knows the truth and he let it slip. They have been controlling the weather. We tried to tell y'all.
I mean, that's definitely how half their base is going to read it. So maybe this is more artfully crafted than I thought. But so half people read it as them saying Joe Biden was being anti-Semitic, which again, he's just making a dad joke. And I would not doubt Joe Biden's 80 years old that he makes some papal type jokes and references in private that reveal some veiled old school thoughts about every minority group and women. But I don't think he was doing that here, and also I don't think Jews control the weather. So I'm going to put that on the record.
Yeah, no. We've always said here, Jews do not control the weather. They don't even have rain dances that I'm aware of. So I don't know how that would even work. All right, our first honorable mention for Daily Dumbass: Fortune Cookies for not breaking this whole thing wide open sooner. Okay, so all right.
I got to do my corkboard and strength here.
I'm about to say, go ahead. Some QAnon shit. So take it away.
All right, so. Look, we all want to pretend that these people don't matter, but Satan's DNA was trending worldwide on Twitter today because a new documentary dropped called "Watch the Water," which is the QAnon expression. They say "Watch the water." Don't really know why, but it's about COVID and how it's a huge conspiracy. And of course, this is pushed forward by Stu Peters, who we did an episode about on Thursday. That's who this guy's talking to. And I want you to watch this guy figure out the whole plot because of a fortune cookie. Here you go.
And I picked it up and read it to my wife, and it reads something like this. All of the world's greatest riches begin with 1 penny. I said,
How profound.
I looked at Jane, I was like, of course it does. Like, who doesn't know that, right? And I sat it down, and she's looking at me as she's eating. She's like, are you gonna eat? And I was just staring at the actual paper, fortune. And I said, yeah, I'll eat in a minute. And she goes, what's wrong? And I said, it's what's on the back of that fortune cookie that's freaking me out. And usually you'll see like lottery numbers or something random on the back of those cookies. But what I noticed was a name on the back of that fortune. In parentheses on the back of that fortune, as soon as I opened it, are 2 names. I knew that God was telling me, you can't give up and you have to tell the world.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So he
I'm
looks at
sorry.
it says
What?
Liubing, Liubing, which it's under the words ice skating because it's literally, I looked it up, Google Translate. It's literally the translation for ice skating. So it's just teaching you a Chinese phrase for ice skating, which fortune cookies do stuff like that. But in case you're curious, Bing Liu was a Chinese-born professor who died in a murder-suicide. And because no one commits suicide in QAnon universe, he was obviously part of the scheme by the cabal to launch COVID, and therefore this guy getting his name with a fortune cookie is a sign for God that he's on the right track, as opposed to just learning a little bit of language about ice skating.
So, okay, Bing Liu, the real guy, they think that he did that he was murdered. He was assassinated because he was too close to uncovering the truth, which is what? Or is that the whole thing? We don't know because they killed him. Or
yeah, I'll read this article from BBC. Bing Liu, a 37-year-old assistant professor at the University of Pittsburgh School of Medicine, was found dead in his house on Saturday. Colleagues said he was close to making significant findings on his studies of COVID-19, sparking online speculation it was an assassination, but police say it was a murder-suicide. This poor guy got shot. Sort of like Seth Rich. Remember the guy who was part of the conspiracy theories about the DNC and Hillary Clinton emails? He's a poor guy, wrong place, wrong time, killed for personal reasons or whatever. And, of course, the internet turns it into a big thing. Again, there are conspiracy theories. It can't just be that this guy was a COVID researcher who got murdered because of love life or whatever. It's always the cabal.
Sure. Okay. Sounds about right. I almost kind of want to watch this documentary, but I know I'll probably regret it if I bite the bullet and do so. Because I've watched some like QAnon videos before, just to see how stupid it is, and it's like, in my experience anyway, we all already know it's going to be really stupid. But if you ask me, however stupid you think it's going to be, it's actually even stupider when you sit down and watch some of it. It's so wild to me that people watch the same thing and are like, this is it. This is everything, because it's just so dumb. So I'm kind of tempted to check this one out too, but I don't know. We'll see if
it's not even like they're the laziest conspiracy theorists in the world, because they don't even put any thought like trying to work out how these plots could work. It's all correlation. It's literally like, I peed today and it rained, therefore me peeing caused it to rain, and everybody's like,
right.
It's like,
yeah,
it's just like, at least the loose change guys fucking put some work into their shit,
Yeah. Yeah, well, like I said before on the show, I watched Loose Change when I was high as hell and in college, and by the end of it, I was like, God damn, I don't know. Bush did do 9/11. I came around later, but I'm saying, I've been took before, but not by this stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Next honorable mention, anybody who doesn't know that the real Illuminati is this black sorority, apparently. Put up that screen grab, Matt. A lot of, you can see here, Skull and Bones has lost their power. It's now the sorority known as Delta Sigma Theta who is taking control of our government, taking control of our country at all levels of government. Even the Loudoun County Board of Supervisors chairman is a Delta. And they've quote tweeted a picture that Keisha Lance Bottoms posted with a bunch of black women politicians and policymakers and DC people or whatnot who are all in this same sorority, presumably at different schools, and they all got together and took a picture. And they're also doing their deltas, right? So they're making like a delta shape with their fingers, but you all may know that that is also the official symbol of the Illuminati or some such shit like that. So naturally, that means that they are the ones now running the new world order, I guess.
I'm not an expert on black sororities for at least two pretty obvious reasons. But I do know that the Deltas take it very seriously and they stick together. And of course, if you're going to be in politics, you want to have cliques. Like you brought up Skull and Bones, which is funny. A bunch of presidents in a row who are members of Skull and Bones, like George Bush, John Kerry, a bunch of candidates, like Al Gore. It's really weird secret society. But Deltas are just a sorority. There's not like the not like the thing where they're fucking dead pigs like the Skull and Bones gets into or whatever. But I mainly want to talk about this guy, Scott Pia. So if you don't know who this guy is, he's the Loudoun County, Virginia GOP chair. He ran for the House of Delegates last year and lost, but not before humiliated himself quite thoroughly. For example, he tweeted this last year in the height of his campaign about global warming. I'm curious, do you think the sea level would lower if we just took all the boats out of the water? It's a thought, not a statement. Look at the pictures of all the boats. Look how many boats there are, Trey. That's obviously giant.
Yeah. Why is nobody talking about this? You see all these goddamn boats? You know, if you take a, and I'm pretty sure I saw that he like followed up when he started getting dragged for it. He was like, well, if you take toy boats out of a bathtub, it's going to change the level of that water. So why is nobody talking about this? You know, but I also wonder like how, I guess he was on some website and saw this mapping of all the boats in the ocean and he had a light bulb moment. He thought, like, I wonder if in his mind he was like, I think I might have cracked it. You know what I mean? When he first came up with it, it's just so funny. Somebody apparently did actually work out the literal math on this, though.
Yeah, an engineer calculated the estimate to Pio's question, according to this news article I read. He concluded the impact on sea levels would be about 6 microns, slightly more than the diameter of a strand of spider silk if you took all the boats out of the ocean. Because I don't know if you noticed this, Trey, but the ocean's big. It's pretty fucking big.
Pretty big.
So he said, you don't worry about that 6 micron level drop this engineer wrote, because the ocean is only rising about 3.3 millimeters per year due to global warming. So at that, if you moved every ship from the ocean, the water would be back up to its original average level in 16 hours. So this guy would stave off the end of human civilization by 16 hours. So it's worth it. When we get down to our last 16 hours, so we're worth the shots.
Also, what, like, I kind of don't even get like what he's going for with this. Like, I'm assuming he's the type of, you know, the economy must go on no matter the cost. Like, he just wants to shut down the entire global shipping industry because of sea levels rising. Like, he's worried about that enough to take these measures. Like, I just feel like it's dumb from all angles is what I'm saying. Like, just the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, disrupts right now trying to figure out a way to switch back to like once the boats are away, like you can put them under sail, basically turn them back into sailboats because the technology is better now for figuring out how to do that. And people are, you know, debating whether that would work. But like the point is, that is much more feasible than stopping the entire global economy.
Right.
Like remember that boat got stuck in the Suez Canal last year, and nobody could get underwear or fruit for like 3 weeks because everything's so fucking stupid. Like this guy's tried like doing that but like times 50. By the way, another small detail about this guy, Pio was the organizer of the quote Trump International Rapid Response Team, which would mobilize in support of the former president whenever he golfed in Virginia. So now people line up outside properties to yell at him when he goes to play golf. This guy was in charge of the group that would go yell back. So
what?
Everything.
I saw where you put that in the outline, and I was like, I thought you meant like whenever he would take golfing trips, they would like, I don't know, try to fill in some way or something on the internet or some such. But you mean they go to the golf course where he's at, they mobilize to the golf course to yell back at people who yell at Donald Trump?
I honestly don't know. I was getting that first impression. And then didn't look into it anymore because I didn't really give a shit. You're right. Maybe when people tweeted the Trump golfing was a waste of money and time, they tweet back. That's a good theory of mine. I don't know. Both things could be true.
The
But whatever.
International Rapid Response Team, centered around golfing in Virginia.
Yeah.
Oh, what about it? Okay, let's see. Next up for honorable mention, everybody in Alabama for not knowing to stay the fuck out of my homeland. That's right. Finally, Marsha Blackburn coming through here says Tennesseans want a wall on our southern border. I've been saying for years we need to keep the damn Alabamans out. Mississippi and Georgia too while we're at it. Why not? But no, obviously she's talking about the Mexico wall. She just said it in a dumb way because she is dumb. Listen, Mark, before you respond to that, producer Matt's telling me that people are complaining about the audio/video quality of Mark's stream. We apologize for that, but
we don't know why.
We don't know why. It's the same setup he always uses. Something's just shitty about his internet right now. Somebody says Mark is on dial-up. Armchair QB1, living up to that name too. But yeah, I don't know, y'all. I mean, I'm sorry. All we can do is soldier on, I guess. It hasn't been a big problem in the past, and hopefully won't be going forward. We noticed it before we started. We hoped that on your end that it would maybe be not as bad. Also, Mark like rebooted his router, did all that shit. We tried various troubleshooting things, and it just still happened. It's been a minute since we've had, technical issues. So, we were long overdue for some. Rebecca on YouTube says, we still love you, smart Mark. All right, yeah. Marsha Blackburn, what do you think about this?
I guess I've done this around the show before, but nobody in a board, only a person from Tennessee or usually people from Tennessee or Iowa or whatever are doing this shit. Cause people on the border don't want a wall for a lot of reasons that we talked about before, but it's worth pointing out that the Republican congressman for the whole border and in Texas, Will Hurd, retired rather than keep fighting this dumb argument because he knows his constituents don't want a border wall because it would chop all their land in half, and it's a fucking idiotic proposal. It's a 1,400-mile wall. People cut holes in it pretty easily. A lot of people, all the drugs are coming in through tunnels and boats and drones anyway. This is nothing but a monument to dumbassery, and that's why they want it built. So there you go.
Yeah, sounds about right. All right, our last couple of honorable mentions here. Number one, Ronald McDonald for getting his inevitable Trump endorsement. Yeah, Trump's out there endorsing. Who was the most recent lucky recipient? Play the clip, Matt, if you've got it. Well,
yeah,
perhaps we don't.
I can just tell you what. So Trump had a rally this weekend where he was endorsing Dr. Oz and said the reason he chose to endorse him is because he had an 18-year career in television. Okay, here we go.
By the way, I endorsed another person today, Dr. Oz in Pennsylvania. Dr. Oz. Great guy, good man, Harvard educated, tremendous career. And they liked him for a long time. That's like a poll. When you're in television for 18 years, that's like a poll. That means people like you, but he's a great guy. This is the year we're going to take back the House.
Yeah. So, yeah, basically, if you've been on career in TV for 18 years, you can have Trump's endorsement. So, good news, Homer Simpson, who else, Dre? The cast of MASH, fucking Oprah.
That bald dude from Jerry Springer, he's got one of them shows.
Yeah.
Steve Wilkos, that's his name.
Wilkos. Yeah.
He seems like he'd run for office in Jersey or somewhere. I could see that.
Yeah, he definitely win. But also, one thing really funny is the guy, David, whatever his name, who missed out on Trump's endorsement, dropped a barn burner of a fucking attack out on Oz in the course of throwing a fit after Oz got the endorsement over him. It basically just is a montage of Trump saying how smart Hillary is. Oz saying how smart Hillary is. Oz interviewing Michelle Obama about children eating more vegetables. All this stuff is played as look at it.
Yeah.
He thinks she's more vegetables.
Right.
It's a fucking fake.
Yeah.
It's it plays like ether, not dropped ether on Jay. It's so fucking funny. But my favorite video from that rally that Matt's about to play It's just like, listen to the audience laugh when Trump says this. Like, they're all in on this fucking sick joke, and it makes me so mad. Yeah.
I've got to be the cleanest sheriff. I think I'm the most honest human being, perhaps, that God ever created. Perhaps. Instead of
one guy yelled no. A fan of his yelled no.
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't know. These people are wild. It's like they have this fervent devotion to him or whatever, but also shit like this, you know. Or I don't know. I guess it's like they admire his bullshittery or how much he lies or something. Do you know what I mean? They're like laughing because it's like you said, it's like they're laughing like we're all in on the joke. Of course, everybody knows you're not honest, but that's what we love about you or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's sort of like, one reason people like The Sopranos, like watching Tony Soprano's sort of like an alpha male fantasy, because he just takes what he wants, he fucks what he wants, who he wants. If somebody gets in his way, he kills them. It's like that to a politician doing it, except Tony Soprano wasn't real. He didn't actually kill anybody. So it's like, this is,
Yeah.
Nonsense. All right.
Yep. Speaking of nonsense, let's talk about rich people and their taxes. Want to?
Yeah. So it's tax week, everybody. Hope that isn't news to you. Hope everybody's like, oh, fucking running off. You got to turn your taxes in a couple of days. Something else, I'll say 20 to 25% of people wait to the last minute to do their taxes, which is crazy for reasons we'll talk about in a minute, because you're more likely to fuck for a bunch of reasons. But so Syracuse University did this study about who's likely to get audited. And it was funny the different ways it was filtered through the coverage. Because this is one way I found out about it, was this article said, how to avoid an IRS audit of your taxes in 2022. And one of the tips was to make more than $25,000 a year. And I was like,
yeah. Why anybody who's making less than that reads this article and is like, oh, God damn it. Why didn't I think of that? I should have just been making more money this whole time.
Yeah, I should have thought about making more money.
I'm such an idiot.
Yeah, the other stuff in there is pretty, like, it was like everybody's working from home, but be more careful. Be careful about how you write off your home office, stuff like that, yada yada yada. But it was like so. Here's the numbers from that article. How they explain it. Some Americans may have more concern about getting audited than others. One such group is low-income households with less than $25,000 in annual earnings. This group is 5 times as likely to be audited as everyone else, according to a recent analysis by IRS data by the Transactional Records Access Clearinghouse. That's a TRAC is the group at Syracuse that did the study. About 13 tax returns per 1,000 filed by those earning less than $25,000 were audited last fiscal year, compared with a rate of 2.6 for 30,000 returns for people with incomes above $25,000. So if you make $20,999, you have about a 0.1% chance of getting audited. If you make more $25,001, you have about a 0.026 chance of getting audited. Both of those are pretty low, but if you've ever been audited, I haven't. I've only heard from people. It's fucking hell.
Yeah, I luckily haven't either. I keep expecting it every year, but I haven't experienced that either. But I don't know. I'm sorry if I'm getting ahead with this, because I know that in reading through the stuff, I know that this is mentioned. But the first thing that I thought when I saw this was that I bet that it's, and this is not me excusing it. I still think that it makes it fucked up. But I just assumed that like the IRS has like quotas or something, numbers they need to hit in terms of how many audits they do or whatnot, and it just stands to reason that a person who's making far less money, that their tax return would be way simpler for them to audit than pouring through all the fucking shell company bullshit that a rich person has going on. So it's just like it's like laziness more than malice or whatever, or they're just going for like, well, this is just so much easier doing this than messing with, Elon Musk and them. So we're just going to not do that.
For sure. Matt's saying to try muting my camera. I don't even know how to do that, Matt.
Right.
Like, Matt, stop trying to fix shit we can't fix. It is what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mark, just click the camera button under the screen that we're both on. You see the icon?
Yeah.
Click that. All right. I feel so alone. Anyway, go ahead.
All right. From Avoid. So yeah, you're right. So like, if you're a fruit picker who you have to like pick so much fruit, which fruit per hour, and you're bumping up against your deadline, what are you going to pick? Lowest hanging fruit, right? So like here, this Houston newspaper interviewed this like CPA who was talking about issues with the IRS and said, basically the IRS has become so starved and underfunded, like no one there knows what they're doing. And also they're way behind. Like there's 40 million returns right now that have not been processed from last year. 40 million is a lot. I don't know how many returns they get, but there's only 300 and some million people in the United
Right.
States. So it's a lot of those are kids, and a lot of those people are retired, and a lot of those people are filing simple returns, and some people file jointly. So I would guess they probably get like 180 million returns. So like a quarter of them from last year they haven't fucking gotten to yet. And the CPA was like, it's much easier for the IRS to find errors in a simple form like a 1040. It takes more eyes to comb through complicated returns and find red flags. Not only is the IRS going through an employee shortage, as some of their workers aren't fully knowledgeable or trained. So yeah, they basically we framed it this way before, but Republicans have defunded their police.
Right.
Yeah. All this just makes me absolutely fucking furious because they tell us whenever we need the government to do something, they say it can't afford it, but they're not even like giving them enough resources to like claim the money that they're owed. We're not talking about raising taxes on anybody here. We're just trying to make people pay taxes they already got. Jumping up the Syracuse stuff, Matt, I just want to talk about these charts for a second. Okay, this is just talking about the rate of being audited. Look at the gap between that. Like low income wage earners, there's that 13 versus 2.6 and all of the taxpayers. That's the gap here. Throw up that next chart, Matt. Yeah, this is just astounding to me to look at. It's fucking infuriating because we talked about the ProPublica data that we went through early in a whole episode on late last year, I think, about how like Elon Musk paid $0 in taxes, and on paper Jeff Bezos made $80,000 last year from Amazon. That's the salary he paid taxes on, was $80,000.
Right, because they make all their money through all their like investments and shit and assets that they have and whatnot. So it's not income. And then their income, as far as what goes down on a piece of paper, is some shit like 80 grand. And then that's what they pay income tax on. So that's how they get away with paying nothing.
More nefarious than that, because I remember, I think I talked about this on the show before, but I read an explainer for why Trump didn't want to open his taxes up. It's not because he necessarily did anything illegal, it's because what's legal. Like,
yeah, right.
If you don't take your capital gains, if you roll it over into more investments, you can keep accruing assets while not actually taking any income, even though you're getting much richer. But then what you can do is you can take a loan based on your equity and live off the loans. But your paper tax returns say you took a loss, even if you roll real estate over to double your holdings. So you get a tax rebate on your business losses because you were living off loans to pay your mortgage and shit. It's fucking perverse, and it's not something that anyone else can do if they're not incorporated and don't have the assets for expensive, accountants and lawyers. Because it's absolutely legal.
The shit makes me wonder, like, how we get any money from these people. You know what I mean? Like how, it just seems like they're so good at getting around paying almost anything. It's like you said, it's not like tax evasion. I mean, I guess it is, but it's like legally speaking, it's not. It's just loopholes that they, know how to exploit because they have the resources to employ a team of people dedicated to no other pursuit than helping them exploit those loopholes. And it's just, it's maddening. People talk about like the rates and stuff on the rich, but it just goes so much further than that,
Yeah. And the meaning from it, like, I think, look, we all need money to eat, and that's absolutely it. But money is also power, right? So whoever gets to hold on more of their money has more power in life and in politics. So, like, they're rattling their sabers to raise taxes on poor people. Like, Rick Scott put out his congressional plan, like his agenda for when Republicans take back the Senate, sort of his document for what he would like to do, his plan to run for president. And it's all about raising money on low wage earners, because Republicans always throw out this talking point that the bottom 50% don't pay any taxes. Now, it's bullshit because you pay sales tax, you pay property tax, you pay state tax, you pay yada, yada, yada. You pay Social Security tax. But yeah, when it comes to federal income tax, sometimes you fall in a bracket where you don't pay that. So, but this is a video from Ohio Senate candidate Mike Gibbons. He's the one who almost got beat up by
Josh Mandel. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
business Papaw, the one that
Business
Mandel
Papaw, yeah.
tried to fight. Yeah.
The top 20% of earners in the United States pay 82% of federal income tax. We only have, and if you do the math, and 45 to 50% don't pay any income tax, you can see the middle class is not really paying any kind of a fair share, depending on how you want to define it. Now, the problem is you need the middle class to win an election. So the narrative is the middle class is getting screwed, and the wealthy, the elite are cheating everybody.
Just, dude, to me, the audacity of this motherfucker to be like, to just be like, you know, you don't know how good you got it, American middle class. Like,
Yeah.
you need to stop bitching. You guys don't pay shit. Really, you should be, grateful for us for bailing the rest of y'all out for so long. Everybody acts like, the middle class is getting screwed, but really it's the opposite. And you need to keep, that in mind and know your place, middle class. And he just like, don't even get me started on the poor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you the Wall Street Journal does this series. It is running bit. They call people that don't pay federal income tax lucky duckies. That's what they call people who are too poor to pay federal income tax. Again, they're still paying Social Security, still paying sales tax, still paying rental taxes, still paying mortgage, property taxes, yada yada yada. But it's absolutely insane because if you want to, if you really think those people are lucky, if you want to make less, you can always make less money.
I know, dude. I hate that shit. This like prevailing narrative they've always had that it's like super poor people are living life on easy street. They just sit back with their feet kicked up, letting everybody else pay everything for them. And it's like, dude, everything about being poor fucking sucks. It's like, it's not easy at all. Only someone who's never been poor would think that being poor is fucking easy or that you're lucky. Like when, that's clearly it's not luck. Like it's not lucky to be poor in this country when such a huge percentage of people are in that position. Like the lucky ones are the ones on the other end of the spectrum. But yeah, just that idea that poor people are just kicking their feet up and being lazy and whatnot and just cruising through life is so fucking insulting and infuriating.
We were joking at the top of the segment about one of the ways you could avoid being audited was like making less than 25,000 or making more than 25,000. Like, why did we just think of that? But making less money is something like when Biggie says more money, more problems. I know what he's talking about. He's talking about the pressure and the all the attention and the more people asking you for stuff that comes along with it. But also, if you want to solve that problem, Biggie, write me a check for all your money and all your problems go away. Like if you really thought it was more problems, you can just hand me your money and it all goes away. But no one actually believes that, of course, because it's fucking stupid. But go back to what I was talking about. Money is power, right? And this is how they think. Because like if they have more money, they have more power, and that's really all this comes down to. It's why they're trying to reach the political system to turn themselves into feudal lords, and then all of us are serfs, right? It reminded me of this went viral last week. This Applebee's exec got fired because he wrote an email to a bunch of managers. So he was talking about how gas prices are going higher is good for Applebee's, basically because they'll be able to stop paying people higher wages because people will be so desperate for work they'll take anything. And it's fucking like this got forwarded to a bunch of people. The first one forwarded to a bunch of people and said, "Words of wisdom from Wayne." These people were really excited about this. Well, let me read a little bit from this. All right. Everyone has heard the gas prices will continue to rise. The advantage this has for us is in that it will increase application flows and potential lower average wage. How, you ask? Most employee base and potential employee base live paycheck to paycheck. An increased gas prices cuts the disposable income. As inflation continues to climb, gas prices continue to go up. That means more hours employees will need to work to maintain their current level of living. We're no longer competing with the government. We're hiring. Stimulus money is no more. Like, he's celebrating this shit, and he got like, fuck this guy forever, because these are, this isn't, man, people money to fucking eat.
I know. Look, I was a server at a chain restaurant. Oh, Charlie's. They don't have them everywhere, but they're in the South. They're competitors with Applebee's. And I know different states have different laws. And also, I know that a lot of people work for Applebee's that are not servers, kitchen staff and whatnot. But like, when I worked at O'Charlie's, our hourly rate was $2.13 an hour. That's because we got tips, obviously, but I'm saying still, O'Charlie's wasn't paying that. And I don't know. Applebee's is all across the country. And I guarantee you, in any given state, they're already paying the bare minimum that they can be paying anyway. And they're relying on the generosity of their clientele to, supplement a huge chunk of their workforce's income in the first place. But it's just never enough. You know what I mean? It's like, no, we need to squeeze them even harder. And this, this very upsetting current economic trend will allow us to do so. It's so like cartoonishly shitty the way these people feel about their workforce or people in general. But hey, Mark, you know what? Like on the phone, I was thinking, I feel like one of those like call-in radio show host or something. You know what I mean? Where you just see me. Like you could see me and I got the cans on and everything and I'm just nodding. We got Mark from Virginia on. Hey Mark, go ahead. Like it feels like that kind of thing. But
I know Matt's just trying to troubleshoot and fix the problem, but he's driving me crazy. I'm going to drive to Seattle and fight him when we're done with this show.
So I was going to say, listen, in Applebee's defense, they need as much money as possible so they can afford to keep licensing the shittiest country music on the fucking planet for their goddamn ads that they run all over daytime TV and drive everybody crazy with. So, it's not like they're not using this money, Mark. They have important expenditures.
Yeah, they got it. Like, well, how's the song go, Trey? It's like fancy like Applebee's.
We fancy like Applebee's on a Friday night because, like, that song is the song I've hated the most out of the past 10 years of my life, I think, because when the first time I ever heard it was on an Applebee's commercial, and they name drop Applebee's in the song, and I was like, damn, dude, Applebee's has commissioned some shitty Nashville country artist to do like a country rap-ish like advertising jingle for their franchise. And then when I found out later, it's like, no, that's an actual hit song that Applebee's just co-opted for their commercials. It was just, it's about right as far as like radio country goes, but it was one of the more egregious examples that I've seen. And it's got like, fat old boys in cowboy hats, just like, dancing around and shit while they're playing it. And it's like fucking, Applebee's, they ain't it.
I dig Applebee's. I think it was probably more Ruby Tuesdays, man. I like Charlie's too. But like, it seems deeply classist here because I grew up white trash, but like, we knew Applebee's wasn't fancy. Like we're aware of it. It's a restaurant we could afford. That was the nicest we could afford on like date nights and birthdays and stuff. But like, it feels like a rich guy being like, you know what, poor people think is fancy? Applebee's.
Yeah.
What's about the Applebee's thing is like, I know it's a lot of crazy class war shit. Like I think I made this point before, but like you should tax the shit out of Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. Even if you didn't spend it or anything, you could put it in a big pile and burn it like a fucking Joker in Dark Knight. It would still make society better just because they'd be less powerful and have less ability to ruin our democracy. And I sound like a lunatic when I say that, but that's essentially the same argument that the Applebee's dude is making in the other direction. Is like we need to take away people's power to make decisions. Like they don't want their employees have any power over Applebee's, right? So like I guess my point is we're in a terrible. It's just only when one side complains about it is it called a class war.
Yeah. I also saw it pointed out in one of these articles you had sent about how like just sort of institutionally or systemically kind of racist the whole thing is because of like, because of the historical advantages that most of these millionaires are white people. And then the fact that they pay less taxes than they should ultimately means that government programs that serve other communities, minority communities and stuff, they are underfunded and starved, which results in more disadvantages for those people. And it's just a big feedback loop of bullshit and the rich getting richer and everybody else getting
Yeah.
fucked.
Cities starve for revenue, so they have cops write a bunch of tickets and arrest people for bullshit infractions. And guess who's getting arrested? But anyway, if you talk about how the law, even if it's not written racistly as disparate impacts, that's critical race theory. And of course, the comments we can't actually say
You're
that
right.
about. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
So-
I didn't mean to push critical race theory here on the Skews. They'll be coming for us.
I also just think like the idea of getting audited. I think people generally know that other countries don't work this way. Like the government knows how much money you owe them, or has no idea. So what a sane country does, the government goes, "All right, you pay the right amount of taxes this year. Don't worry about it." Or we did the math and it looks like you underpaid by $1,000 or so. So send us another $1,000 unless you want to like contest it. And it's a simple process. They just tell you what to do because no one else I owe money to just sends me a form saying, "Guess how much money you owe us?" And if you don't get
and
it
then
right,
send it to me. Right. Yeah. And if you don't get it right, you're gonna fucking go to jail.
Yeah.
Matt, if you want to like start throwing some comments and stuff up, you can. But I was gonna say, Mark, like I actually didn't know that for a long time. I recently, or not recently, I mean, it's been like years now, but I'm saying I was an adult when I found out that what you just said is true. Anthony Webb on YouTube says, hit that like button. Thank you, Anthony. Like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. But I was an adult when I found out that in other countries, it works like you said. It's like you basically get a bill from the government saying, this is the amount of taxes, we say that you owe us, and you can dispute it if you want to. And it was one of those things where it's like, oh, right, that's really fucking weird that they make us do that in the first place, But I mean, I always just took it for granted because I didn't know any different. But it's like one of those things when you point it out, you're like, oh, yeah, why do we do that? Samantha Sage Schwant says, I was audited last year, still waiting on the refund. Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Did you try making more money, Samantha? How about that?
Yeah. And as with everything else in America, the reason for why it is this way is corruption. Because if you make taxes as difficult as possible, you have to hire an accountant, and accountants like H&R Block lobby the government to keep taxes complicated as shit and difficult. And TurboTax does too. So they just bought Congress to make taxes difficult, and now we all suffer for it.
Yep.
So yeah. Fun.
DC Trevitt on YouTube says, trickle down is the biggest lie ever perpetrated on any society. Yeah.
It's obvious if you think about it for 2 seconds too, because the money would trickle down to you, they would change the system.
Yeah.
Why would anybody want their money trickling down? Right?
Yeah, I saw some rich fuck tweeted, I don't know when it was, but I just saw it recently where he was like, if you give, I think it was when they were talking about like stimulus checks or something like that. It's like, if you give a rich person $600, that money is going to accrue in value over time and be turned eventually into other assets and whatever else. He's like, you give $600 to a poor person, it's gone in a week. And it's like, yeah, because they have actual shit they got to spend money on, which they, that they turn around and give that money back to fucking their mechanic or the grocery man. You know what I mean? They stimulate the economy instead of just shoving it into some fucking, Wall Street black magic fund that doesn't do anything for anybody. But like, I don't know. I mean, they really do see it that way though. You can't give poor people money. They'll just spend it. And it's like, shouldn't you want that? Like,
that is trickle down. Like it trickles down to like mechanics and grocery stores and guys who put installers and gosh when you buy your kid pants. it's ridiculous. Yeah.
Jonathan Dye on Facebook says, I literally got audited when I was a 15-year-old bagger at Kroger. God damn. I guess we're both getting audited this year, Mark. We're gonna summon it. We're manifesting it by talking about, because so far, I've avoided that scourge. I feel like you'd be freaked out as a 15-year-old bagger just because, that's some wild-sounding shit to happen to you. But also, it's like, what are they going to do? Well, I guess I shouldn't say that. Oh, DC Trevitt on YouTube says, can't wait to see you and the boys this Friday night, Trey. Yeah, Portland. We're going to be at Helium in Portland this weekend. Looking forward to it. Portland's great. Few of those shows, we're there all weekend. Some of those shows are already sold out, but there are tickets left for the later ones if y'all are into that. And yeah, wellreadcomedy.com if you want to get some tickets.
Watch out for Antifa, Trey.
I know I'm gonna be talking about that. I got some Antifa stuff in the works. So yeah, but Portland's always a good time. Also, may or may not, we just a quick. And the last time we were in Portland, this lady at the show gave us some homemade weed cookies. Not saying you should, not saying you shouldn't, just saying somebody did. And she said they were 10 milligrams each. So we go back to the hotel room, and me and Corey, Drew calls it an early night. Me and Corey split one of these cookies, and we're just going to turn on Netflix. And right after we turn it on, we get a message from from this woman who said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I just realized that I gave you the wrong batch. Those are 30 milligrams each, not 10. So just want to make you guys aware," which, I appreciate her telling us, but we'd already eaten it. And for both me and Corey, the difference between 5 milligrams and 15 milligrams is the difference between getting like misted and diving into a pond. Like it's a whole thing. We ended up, we freaked out and had to turn Netflix off because we had started Sicario, and Sicario opens with like 100 bodies being unearthed in the walls of a suburban Texas home. And that freaked us the fuck out. So then I don't know how we landed on Tickle Fight, but we had a tickle fight in Corey's bed for what felt like forever, but could have just been 90 seconds. And woke up the next day, still couldn't tell if I was still high or not 12 hours later. And Portland's a wild place to not be sure if you're still high or not. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of wild shit going on up there. Aaron Lee on YouTube says, "My girlfriend Elise and I just got engaged. Would appreciate a shout out." Well, congratulations,
Aaron and Elise.
Aaron and Elise. Good for you.
My wife's name is Aaron, so I'm a big fan of Aaron's.
All right.
I will say I do love Portland. My biggest Portland. I went there a few times for Bridgetown Comedy Festival, and one time I was there. One morning I was woken up. The hotel was next to a park, and I was awakened by an adult marching band practicing. And then the next morning I was awakened by like 100-person drum circle. So Portland is exactly what you think it is, and I love it.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. Kim Shea 22 on YouTube says, "Oh my God, I'd pay to watch that tickle fight." Yeah, it was a hotly contested affair. I would say that I won the tickle fight, but Corey might dispute that.
I forgot the single most Portland thing I saw was we walked past another park, me and my buddy Tone, and there was an adult open fight. Like an open invite, like potluck. So like hundreds of people just brought dishes to share, and I was like, "God, you people are trusting."
Yeah.
That is absolutely insane. Yeah.
I just told you we ate those drug cookies, but yeah, no, I hear you. But yeah, Portland is like, because I know it's not like it's exactly it's not literally just straight up Portlandia, but it's like you said, it is like, it is what it is. Like Portland is very Portlandy. Like in most regards, Florida is very Florida-y. Some places just be the way they are. Yep. Wanda Sharp on Facebook says, "We have a little bit of everything here in Portland." Yes, you do. It's going to be cold, I believe. Need to get that Jewish guy who works for Biden on the case. Maybe they can fix that for us. But yeah, but it'll be fun. I guess I'll go ahead and also remind. So one last time, sorry about the goddamn technical issues. And if you've been watching us for a while, we've got a long history of them, but I think we've done pretty good recently. And hopefully this will just be just a blip. We'll be back to normal next week. But in the meantime, if you want to support the show and you want to get some extra Skews content, you can give us $5 a month on Patreon and get full-length bonus episodes, weeklyskews.com/more or patreon.com/Trey Crowder. It's all the same to us. And we would appreciate it. So I guess with that, we'll put an end to this. Thanks for calling in, Mark. I appreciate it.
Long time, first time, Trey.
That's right. Okay. Well, all right. Thanks, guys. So love you. Bye.